It's Radio Obeng Darko joining me all the way from Ghana. Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon.
How are you doing? The same well with the same time, different times.
We are doing well.
Awesome. Awesome. So, Kwabena, let's start with our talk today. You sent a text that you want us to look into personal and financial education. I know anything that you come up with. You have synopsis of issues with that you've come up with. So why why do we have to go into that? And what have you observed? What have you noticed? And why now you want us to go into that? I know it's something that you've started. Why go into that direction?
Thank you very much, and thank you for the opportunity. I'm grateful. Money is something that we all use. And as a matter of fact, when you were going to school, the courses that people were choosing, they were choosing them because there was demand for it. So let's say they said, this when you finish, you get a job. I mean, mainly if they say you get a job, it means that there will be some kind of remuneration. And so if you have a family, you have to pay rent or you have to pay school fees. If you go to the hospital, it's the same. And yet money or finance is something that most of us have not critically studied, which means that we just move through life and we hope that God will help us to get money, or maybe the government will help us to get money. As a matter of fact, most of us will try to leave our country and go to we don't seem to go to poor countries. We seem to go to countries that we think have money. Why? Because we are all looking for some level of financial success, but most people don't study the subject at all. And so I feel it's something that we have to discuss. I actually wrote a book on that, Streamline, which is how to teach yourself money. It's financial education. The things that I have learned trying to, live and trying to build business, because your understanding of finance goes a long way to affect your professional life, especially if you're trying to build a business. Most of your decisions will just come from what you know. And if what you know about money is wrong, it's likely that your business is going to struggle, and it's so likely that you may not be able to succeed with your business.
So what is the first point of call when you want to go into this personal financial education? What is the first point that an individual needs to start with? Where do you start from?
We have to go to the first principles, because not many of us are coming from families that made money. Made money means that they built their own finances, whether through business, whether through their professions, And I'm not talking of the money that comes from politics, or somebody starting an organization and becoming rich, because those are not non-profit organizations and becoming rich out of that. That's not what I'm talking of. I'm talking of the one that applies to somebody like me. Maybe I don't play football, I don't sing, I'm not an actor. I just happen to have been to school, and I want to become financially successful. Those kind of people, what are the steps that we have to look at? We have to know what we know about money and what we don't know about money. Most of us, the family didn't teach us, the school did not teach us, and it's also likely that what we are being taught in our religious institutions is not going to make us to have any financial independence at all. So the first point is, what do you know about money? We should know that. What I know about money, is it far from the truth, or is within the circle of the truth, of truth? Because the farther you are from the truth, the more frustrated you are going to live in terms of you trying to get results. And so if your belief system on money is also far from the truth, it will show. And so if you ask a typical person in our country, how do you become successful? They will tell you that, they will just quote you like that. And ask them, so when is that blessing going to work for you? So in terms of that, we all coming from Christian backgrounds. There are a lot of bats that have been hung on our neck or been put in our brain, which after 20, 30 years, we should be questioning them. That if you say God's blessing makes rich, I think that every one of us is blessed anyway. Every one of us. The next step is, how do How do you make this blessing a reality in your life? And that one is not a miracle. That one is fruit of critical thinking. It's a fruit of right information, right financial data, and their application. And that's where the missing link is, where we all just believe that it is not in our hands and supernaturally somebody, so that's why people preach about miracle money and things like that. But those who are doing well financially in this life, there is something that they know that the rest don't know. And if you look at our community as Africans, the content or the depth of the knowledge that goes around in our circles, whether on social media or on our radio or on our TV, I dare say that they are very shallow. And therefore, we are not able to take serious charge of our finances, even at the personal level, before you even go into business or into the country level or continental level. Because a lot of the things that we understand about money, our results prove that there is more that we have to know. So that's it.
Okay. So, Kwabena, what is money?
What is money? It's the one that people trade with. Some say it's an idea. Some say it's a paper. Some say it's they get on your phone. So I don't know how to define money, but it's something that you trade with something that you want to get. It's something that most people have not understood, and most people don't even know how to define it. Some say it's spiritual. Some say it's just a result of idea. I think money is just a compensation you get by trying to solve economic issues in your community. That's money.
So let's start from the personal educational level. If now that money doesn't conjure from heaven and drops down into your pockets, and people lifting up their bags in churches and money start dropping, either it's true or it's not true, then we'll leave that to them, those doing that to do it. But if really you want to have money and then use that money as a means of exchange, or you put it into investment personally, if you are starting from your personal level, what are some of the steps that you have to put in place for you to start building yourself financially in terms of education?
In every community that we live in, there is a financial system that works. So let's say the financial system that works in Ghana is entirely different from the financial system that works in where you are in America. If I want to buy a house in Ghana, or if I want to build a house, the bank loan, if I take it, it's not good, because the loan probably is 20-30%. If I want to, for instance, we are into property development. If I want to procure loan and build and rent, it's almost suicidal, because the interest rate is very high. What applies here in terms of trying to build wealth in our country then have to fall in a whole different level. My grandfather was a farmer. He had sheep. He had his own goat. Growing up, what I saw at the latter part of his life is that he had a land. He had a tipper track. So maybe 15 years to him dying, he will use the track to load the sand and pack it on his land. When he was not able to work again, he was selling that sand to people for money. Now, somebody who could not read, who could not write, but he was able to build his own business. He had his own cocoa farm. He didn't die poor. Now, you and I know there are a lot of professors, doctors, lawyers, who at the end of their life are virtually poor. The difference is the financial information that my grandfather had, even though he didn't go to school. If you go to most of our towns in Ghana, medium towns, you see the buildings there, or you go to Bantama, for instance, you see the buildings there. Our grandparents who built these houses never went to school.
Yeah.
But they had serious sense of finance. They had cocoa farms. Yeah. They had their own goals. The gold, they traded, So I'm saying that the kind of education that we are thrust into, we are pushed into, is devoid of financial education. So we go to school, we become doctors, lawyers, engineers, thinking that will make sure that will make us become prosperous. But the fact is that the financial education was not added to that school. So that's why you said, oh, some people didn't go to school, but they have money. It's because the kind of information that you need to make money is not in school. Even those who do MBA and finance, they do them so that they can get a job with it. And getting a job and working and being paid and building financial success, financial wealth, they're entirely different. And you and I know that even those who are paid in terms of salary, which may be good salary, still, some of them, when they lose their jobs, within 6 months, they struggle. Why? Because the information to build something that even if you don't have a job for years, you can still live your life and take care of your family and help other people, is not necessarily in getting salary. It's something that the money that comes to you, your ability to make critical decisions with it and grow that money over time. And that information, I'm saying, is hardly in school, you know, and it's not even in a professional life. So professionally, I work to contribute to society, but I should be able to separate my finances from my profession. So it does not really matter the kind of profession that I have. If I have very strong financial information over time, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, I'll be able to build an appreciable level of financial wealth, such that if there is sickness or if there is a problem, I will not have to beg to eat, you know. And that kind of information is what we all have to have. And I'm saying that it's not in school. It is not even in church, because in church, all that they tell us is that bring your salary, bring your tithe, and, you know, give to the work of God, and God will make you rich. And then big men in the churches will come and tell us the same thing. They will give us testimonies as to how they brought money to the church and then they became wealthy, without teaching us the basic financial skills as to the discipline, the critical decisions that they took for them to build from A to Z or from B to C. You know, they don't teach us those critical things. So a young man starts to work, and the first money he gets, he goes to buy land with it. You know, he says that I'm tired of paying rent. And then he locks his financial future forever. Or he gets money and he goes to buy a car with it. Or he gets money, you are coming from a family like mine, but you go to stage a very big wedding, forgetting that after the wedding, you're going to have maybe children, you're going to live, and you would need resources to live, you know? And then you start to experience pressure, because they say that most of the pressures from family, young family, they are financially related. And as a matter of fact, most of the divorces that we see, one way or the other, are financially related problems. You know, so the moment you have control over the money, what it means is that, let's say I'm spending 1,000 as a family, but I have 10,000 coming in every month. The pressure is low. But if I'm spending 1,000 and I have 500 coming, there's problem. So there's constant problem. And the world financial system, like in your country, is built on debt. So for instance, in America, most people will never own a house or own a car if they don't have access to debt. Now, if you come to Ghana, we don't use that. So you must understand what works in Ghana, and you must understand what works somewhere. But most people confuse them. And that's why most people don't even have any financial goals or financial dreams for themselves. You know, so let's say I'm 30 years today. I'm planning that by the time I'm 40 years, I should have maybe 100,000 or 50,000 invested, even if it's not in a business, invested somewhere. That if there's a critical problem, that money can take care of me. Most people don't have that at all. They just hope that one day some supernatural power will just, you know, and then I will get money. And for me, that's lack of understanding of the basis, the fundamental first principles of finance.
So finance is not taught in school. It's not taught in the church. But if you look into the good books, the scriptures, God teaches more about finances and all that. So where do we get this information from?
For instance, Jesus said that who would want to build and not sit down and count? He didn't say that who want to build and not sit down and pray. Sit down and count, do the accounting. What is it going to cost me to build this house? Sit down and cost it. How much is it going to cost me to build my life? Which means that when it comes to building, it calls for critical thinking. It calls for high level of intelligence. It calls for high level of analysis, of planning, of critical decisions. You know, so you should know that you were not taught. You're not given that. That's why you struggle with money. Most people struggle with money. Let's face it. It doesn't even matter how much they're paid. Most people don't even understand the taxes that they pay. When they get the money, the taxes that they have deducted on their pay slip, they don't even know it, and they don't really want to bother to know it. And yet, the people who control wealth, that's where the attention is. You know, so you have to take the first step to say that this is as much critical as any other thing, that I must study money if I'm going to live on this earth and become successful. Because if you're not successful in terms of finance, even if you have dreams, great dreams, the fuel to the, I mean, whatever fuels your vision is still money anyway.
It's money, sure.
You know, whether it's your money or somebody's money that you want to go and assess, you must know why would they give you money to fund your project if you don't understand the numbers. You know, so, and part of it is also that if you look at our educational structure, money is actually a function of mathematics. But most of us will go to school or accounting, and most of us will go to school, and that's the subject that they tell us that is very difficult. So they tell us to go and, you know, do the drumming and dancing. And then it gets to a point, we get money, and we don't make good decisions.
You don't want the Legon guys to come and catch you up here.
They should come, because we are the ones running the country. If you are not happy with our finances, we should ask them what were they taught. You know, so, because it's not just about I went to school to, you know, do this and I'm in parliament. The document that they put there, can you analyze it? Can you break it down? Do you have the capacity to understand it? Most of them don't, you know, and then we are hoping that they will move us into prosperity. It becomes difficult. So a lot of the laws that are set financially are set to keep a lot of people in poverty. Because you have to have your own financial system, financial structure as well, for you to beat the system. So we in Ghana, we must understand, let's say if I want to build, let's say, 2 million, 10,000, 20,000, I must set my timelines, and I must see how I get revenue. And that's where most people will turn out to become thieves, because the financial information is weak. So the only way that they think they must make money is to steal. When the reality sets in, and you see what is coming in and what is going out, and they don't make any sense, and you don't have very strong morals, you will give up and start to change the invoices. When they send you start to add something to it. When you're a minister of state, you start to add 10% to it, because without that, you have no other ways of you trying to make any money at all, because your financial understanding probably is that much weak.
Well, thank you very much, Kwabena Obeng Darko. So, Kwabena, are you available?
Available in terms
are you available if somebody wants to speak with you, get guidance and directions? Are you available?
Yes, as much as I can. Yes, my WhatsApp phone is there.
Okay. So if you wouldn't mind, you can put up your. If you wouldn't mind, you want to put up your WhatsApp phone up for people to reach out to you?
Yes, if anybody has interest in that, yes. Because as a matter of fact, let's say Africa, in almost everything, our information is low. In almost everything, what we deal with is shallow. If sometimes I watch some of the things that some of these guys who are building global institutions talk about, and when you turn to us and the things that we discuss, the difference is too much.
Yeah, it's too much. Sure.
We want to solve the poverty, but we spend time talking about have no relevance. They just waste our resources, our time, our energy, and we consume the politics, the comedy, the sports, and we turn out to say there is no job, people are not building factories. The conversation
is too much.
They're very far from where we want to go.
Yeah.
You know, and so you see the Africans, and that's why the negativities will start to come in. And it doesn't even matter where they live. I don't even think that it matters where you live when it comes to building finance. It matters what you know and what you're ready to put into practice. You know, because some people have a sell on their head. They sell on their head. If they have the right financial understanding and they have the right financial plan and they have the discipline, give them 10 years. Give them 10 years. They will do far more better than most of their colleagues. You know, but it doesn't matter. You could be engineer. I have friends who are engineers who still find it very difficult. And not because they are not good people, but the information on money, they didn't study it. So they only work to get money. And when the money comes, they buy a car and a house. The rest, they wait for Senate. And
well, thank you very much. Well, Kwabena doesn't mind if you want to reach out to him. 02466 31874 02466 31874 02466 31874. He's more than available to help if you really want to reach out to Kwabena Obeng Darko. He's also into real estate development as well. So if you need any advice, he is there to help you as well. Kwabena, thank you very much and have a blessed weekend.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.